audience members demanding that. You know, I want original movies. I really do. Like, and yes, I've done adaptations. I've tried it. I tried everything, but there's nothing so satisfying. It's the hardest path, but for me, it is the most satisfying one. And this is not a slam against those other movies, but I just feel like, well, what the fuck am I doing if I'm not coming up with new stuff? Some of it's going to work, and some of it isn't. I don't know. It's a faith-based system. You just have to go, I think it's good. I guess everyone else in the world will too. Like, if you have to be that crazy and just go, this is going to work. Trust me. And do it for a low budget so that they're not taking a very big risk. And that's the beauty of horror. And, you know, Danny Philippou was in Los Angeles. And I hung out with him and gave him notes on Talk to Me. And I loved him. And I loved Raka Raka. And I knew that was, read the script and we knew it was going to be a great movie. And I'm so happy for those guys because they did it. And that's the beauty of horror. And the beauty of you guys is that everybody will give the new voice a chance. And all we care about is it scary and is it original? And is it cool? And that's what's exciting about the genre. That's what keeps it alive. And that's why I like with John Watts, with Clown, and these younger directors, you know, I've tried to help bring them along and mentor them. But, you know, it is crazy that here we are in 2023, and Thanksgiving and Talk to Me are two of the only, you know, horror films coming out in theaters. Everything else is being done for streamers. Even for Thanksgiving, everything's coming. It's Marvel. There's very few original movies coming out. So I feel very lucky that Sony got behind the picture. And I'm very excited to see it. It wouldn't work without the audience. We can do whatever we do, but thank God you guys are still coming to see theater to see original movies. You know, as the director, you're the least objective person in the world. And it's the first time in my life I've had the experience of going back and watching a film 20 years later. I never had 20 years between me and the movie. So it's fun to rewatch them, because by the time the movie comes out, you're so fucking sick of it, because you've watched it a million times. And then, but look, you know, a lot of the times you see the mistakes, it drives you crazy. It's like, I wanted to do that, I should have done that. Sometimes you caved on an idea, you let someone convince you, and you go, I should have fought harder. And a lot of times you're like, thank God, everyone else told me I was crazy, and I knew it was going to work, and it did. But it's fun. It's like, to me, Cabin Fever is about being, I wrote it when I was 22 years old. So I remember all the things, like when you look back from college, when you're old and you look back from college, not you guys were in college, and Hostel is about being 32, and Knock Knock is about being the fear of being married at early 40s, and then this is about another time in my life. So it was great because Milan Khanama, who shot Hostel and Hostel 2 in the Thanksgiving trailer, came in to shoot Thanksgiving. So we hadn't worked together in a long time, and it was like we picked up right where we left off. And I felt like we really, you know, it was good. I hadn't made a horror movie in a while. So it was good to do a low-budget horror movie and get back in the groove and take all that 20 years of experience. But I'm proud of them. But, you know, they're like your kids in a way. You can't just, you see the good and the bad. And I'm just proud they exist. And what I love is that, like we said, you know, 20 years later, someone's still watching it asleep. Where I grew up was where the Pilgrims first landed. So it's like shoved down your throats in school. It's like they go to the village with the, does everyone understand the Are we translating or it's good?
Yeah, we have a translator there,
okay,
so
good.
no, yeah.
All right, good. So everyone, you know, when I was growing up, you'd go to the village where they're recreating the Pilgrims, and my best friend, Jeff, we'd say, when are they going to make a Thanksgiving slasher? It's perfect. You can have a person in a turkey costume and cut the head off, and they're running around like a turkey. And we can put someone in an oven. Like, what if we do a human turkey with little chef hats? Like, we're kids. We're 12 and 13 years old with these ideas to do the movie. And every year we're like waiting. And for me, November was the worst month, because after Halloween, I was so sad. So sad. There was no horror movie until January or December. Maybe one Christmas movie, but you had to wait. And I said, why can't we have the one movie that comes in November so we don't have to wait until January? And then when Grindhouse happened, it was Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez said, we're going to make these movies and we want to put fake trailers in between the movies. And so, do you want to do one? I said, I've got it. It's Thanksgiving. I have all the kills already. So we did in 2 days. We have no money, and I took the leftover fake heads and body parts from Hostel 2 and the cast, and I added 2 days to the shoot. And we shot this crazy fake trailer that was so just sick and inappropriate and disgusting. And it was like a parody of a movie from 1980. It was really a joke. But people loved it. And they'd say, well, when are you going to make the movie? And I thought, well, we already did it. We did the best parts. Who wants to see the boring parts? The trailers, what more do you want? We showed every kill possible. So we couldn't figure out what the story was, but for a long time, after a while, I thought, well, what if that was a real movie? And Thanksgiving 1980 is a real film, and it was so offensive that every print was destroyed, and the only thing that survived was the trailer. And this is the reboot from 2023 of what that movie was. And that freed us up creatively to take our favorite moments from the trailer, but not have to be a movie that is exactly like that. But it started when we were 12 years old. That's when this idea began. Making like a very scary movie. Like, oh, hello, hi, wow, nice to see everybody. Good to see you. I always think in my mind, I'm making a scary movie. But I'm also like a 15-year-old boy at the same time, and I can't help it. It's just my sense of humor. I think of very silly, inappropriate things, and I can't control myself. So, generally want the movies to be real. I don't want it to be a joke, but you can feel it when you've gone too much in that direction. And there were a few jokes, like when we're shooting this character, we're like, you should say that, and they'll go, ah, and we're like, and we're laughing like school children. And I know it's correct because someone from the studio ran out of the school and like pulled me aside and said, you can't do that, you can't do that. So of course the rebel in me is like, ha, we're doing it again. So, but when sometimes you get an idea and you think, oh, I shouldn't do this, this is too fucked up. And then we do it and we film it. When you're watching the movie, the only question you want the audience asking is what happens next. I'm going, and if you give them too many laughs, they're like, and that's what. And when I see this, if I see this, that's like, you want to know what I'm afraid of? What I'm afraid of is watching the movie and having people be like, people look at their phone, fuck. That's my worst nightmare, is someone is so bored in your movie, they do this, they're like, that's my nightmare. So the joke has to serve the story and the character. The other thing that I realized is actors get jealous, and sometimes they'll be like, okay, let's also give a joke to that character. But then I'm editing it, I'm like, now they sound like the same person. That's not that character. That character would do it. And if you do it too many times, then they become the star of the movie. And someone said that. They're like, I know you like the person, and you think they're funny, and they are, but it's actually hurting our main character, because you've given this character too many jokes. And it was true. Because people were like, he's not the main character, but he's really funny, so we kept putting it in. So I throw everything in. I throw, even with the gore. Like with the gore, with, Viernes Negro, there was a scene that was like, you'd think, oh, everybody wants gore, it's got to be so fucked up. But there was a point where the audience went silent, because people were just like, this isn't fun anymore. This is too upsetting. So you're like, yeah, this is great. But like the movie, they felt betrayed. They felt like we came here, we were having a great time, we were laughing, we were loving the deaths, but you actually like brought in some kind of like real cruel fucked up thing that I wasn't expecting, and I'm not forgiving you. So I had to cut back on the gore, and then people were like, oh, that was just enough. People still said it was the sickest thing in the movie. So it's weird. You never know, but you put it in and the audience will tell you. Black Friday, you'd see their videos on YouTube of the gates going up and people trampling each other. There's one waffle iron riot. I mean, there's so many videos beating the shit out of each other for televisions, and you think it's such a perversion of the holiday. That was what the story was about. So if you're taking the idea of this holiday and twisting it, what else can we do? Okay, we have turkey, you have the dinner, you have corn on the cob, you have the meat tenderizer. So you just take the idea of, like, what's a really fucked up holiday movie? Like, think of a Christmas movie or a Thanksgiving movie, and what is the worst thing you can do? What's the most sick, perverse thing that you can do with the corn on the cob? It's taking something that's supposed to be for feeding you and protecting your hands, and now you're sticking it in someone's ears. It's horrible. And when I get that feeling of, oh, that's horrible, that's how I know it's a good kill.